Pythagoras draws a triangle in the sand, stares at it with burning intensity, and whispers, "There is a secret here." The wind tries to erase the lines, but he redraws them again and again, obsessed. To everyone else, it is just 3 lines meeting at angles. To him, it is proof that the universe follows rules. He is born on the island of Samos around 570 BCE. As a boy, he watches ships arrive from distant lands and listens to sailors describe foreign cities. His curiosity is uncontrollable. "There has to be order behind everything," he says to a friend while counting pebbles along the shore. His friend laughs. "They're just stones." But Pythagoras shakes his head. "No, they are numbers waiting to be understood." He refuses to stay confined. He travels widely, possibly studying sacred geometry in ancient Egypt and absorbing astronomical knowledge in Babylon. Everywhere he goes, he asks relentless questions. How do you measure the land after the Nile floods? How do you track the stars? He is not satisfied with myths. He wants patterns. When he finally settles in Croton, the real transformation begins. He doesn't just teach mathematics. He forms a disciplined community, part school, part brotherhood. His followers live by strict rules. They study numbers as if studying sacred scripture. "Everything is number," he tells them firmly. A student challenges him. "Even justice? Even love?" He responds calmly, "Even those." Then comes the discovery that will echo through every classroom in the world. Studying right-angled triangles, he proves that the square of the hypotenuse equals the sum of the squares of the other 2 sides. It sounds simple now, but in that moment, it is revolutionary. Builders can calculate distances without measuring directly. Architects can design structures with confidence. Navigation becomes precise. If this revelation surprises you, imagine being alive in that era. Imagine realizing that shapes obey consistent laws. This is the turning point where math begins to feel like power. Encourage viewers right here to subscribe if they're ready for more world-changing discoveries, because the story is only escalating. Pythagoras doesn't stop at geometry. He experiments with musical strings. He stretches them across wooden frames and plucks them carefully. When he shortens a string by half, the pitch rises in perfect harmony. His eyes widen. "Music obeys numbers," he declares. His students are stunned. "So beauty has a formula?" one whispers. "Yes," he replies. "Harmony is numerical." Now mathematics is no longer just practical, it is philosophical. It explains sound, it explains proportion, it hints that the entire cosmos might operate through ratios and balance. This idea spreads like wildfire among thinkers, but Pythagoras's influence grows dangerous. His secretive society gains political weight in Croton. Leaders grow suspicious. "What are they planning?" officials whisper. Tension builds. Eventually, violence erupts. His meeting places are attacked. His followers scatter. The man who preached harmony faces chaos. Emotion surges here. Imagine dedicating your life to order, only to be driven out by disorder. Yet even in exile, his ideas survive. Centuries later, philosophers like Plato absorb his belief that reality has mathematical structure. Scientists like Galileo Galilei argue that the universe is written in the language of mathematics. Isaac Newton formulates laws of motion that rely on geometric precision. Each of them stands on foundations Pythagoras helped strengthen. The escalation reaches modern times. Every skyscraper relies on triangular stability. Every engineer designing a bridge uses principles connected to his theorem. Every pilot navigating across continents depends on calculations rooted in geometry. Even computer graphics, GPS systems, and space exploration trace their logic back to mathematical frameworks he championed. Picture a modern classroom. A student stares at the equation a squared plus b squared equals c squared and groans, "When will I ever use this?" The teacher pauses and replies, "Every time you trust a building not to collapse." That line hits hard. Pythagoras didn't just invent a theorem, he changed how humanity thinks. Before him, numbers were tools for trade. After him, numbers became the blueprint of reality. He introduced the radical belief that the universe is not random chaos, it is structured, measurable, discoverable. But here's the deeper emotional layer. He also taught about the soul. He believed in reincarnation. He encouraged ethical living, self-discipline, and intellectual purity. For him, mathematics was not separate from morality. It was connected. Order in numbers reflected order in life. That integration of science and spirituality made him unique and controversial. Now the story circles back to that triangle in the sand. Imagine him kneeling, tracing lines with absolute focus. He had no idea that thousands of years later, satellites would orbit Earth using geometry tied to his thinking. He never saw skyscrapers piercing the clouds. He never imagined the digital age. Yet his influence stretches across all of it. And here is where viewers should feel the weight of his legacy. One man, one idea, one triangle, and the world shifts. If this story changed how you see mathematics, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Pythagoras was more mathematician, philosopher, or visionary? Let's have that conversation. If you've ever doubted the power of a single idea, hit the like button so more people discover how deeply one mind can impact civilization. Share this video with someone who believes math is boring. And most importantly, subscribe for more powerful stories about the individuals who reshaped human history. Because Pythagoras didn't just solve a problem, he revealed a pattern. And once humanity saw that pattern, there was no turning back. But the story of Pythagoras does not end with formulas written on classroom boards. It deepens, expands, and quietly shapes the invisible framework of modern civilization in ways most people never notice. Imagine a group of architects standing over a blueprint. One of them points at a triangular support beam and says, "If this angle is off by even a fraction, the entire structure fails." They adjust the measurements carefully. What they are protecting is not just steel and concrete, they are protecting lives. And in that silent calculation, Pythagoras is present. Now shift to a ship navigating through open waters centuries ago. A navigator studies the stars and calculates distance using geometric principles. "We're still on course," he assures his crew. That confidence is built on the same triangular relationships first formalized by Pythagoras and his followers. Exploration itself becomes safer because numbers can be trusted. The emotional escalation rises when the story touches space exploration. A team of scientists prepares a spacecraft launch. "Check the trajectory," one engineer commands. Complex equations fill screens. Angles, distances, vectors, all descendants of geometric reasoning. The rocket lifts into the sky, defying gravity, guided by mathematics rooted in ancient discovery. Without that foundational belief that space can be measured and predicted, modern science collapses. Back in ancient Croton, picture Pythagoras speaking passionately to his inner circle. "The cosmos is harmony," he insists. "Planets move in mathematical rhythm." Some students are inspired, others are overwhelmed. One dares to ask, "What if numbers fail us?" He responds firmly, "Numbers do not fail. We fail to understand them." That conviction becomes his greatest gift to humanity, the confidence that truth can be discovered through reason. He challenges blind acceptance and replaces it with logical proof. In doing so, he helps shift civilization from myth-based explanations toward rational inquiry. Yet there is tragedy woven into his legacy. His secrecy and influence provoke fear. Political rivals accuse his followers of elitism. Fires consume meeting places. Loyal students are forced into hiding. The man who sought universal order becomes a target of disorder. There is irony in that. A thinker devoted to harmony dies amid conflict. But ideas are harder to destroy than buildings. Generations later, scholars preserve fragments of his teachings. Mathematicians expand his theorem. Philosophers debate his metaphysical ideas. Scientists build entire disciplines upon the principle that reality follows mathematical laws. The story reaches its final emotional height by returning to a simple image, a child holding a ruler and drawing a triangle on paper. That child may never know the dangers Pythagoras faced. They may never hear about his secret society or exile, but they will inherit his discovery. Quietly, naturally, as if it always existed. And that is true influence. Not loud applause, not statues in every city, but ideas so powerful they become invisible because everyone accepts them as obvious. Encourage viewers here to reflect deeply. How many everyday tools, phones, cars, buildings, bridges, depend on mathematical certainty? How much of modern comfort rests on ancient curiosity? Invite them to share their thoughts in the comments. Ask them whether they believe Pythagoras changed the world more through mathematics or philosophy. Urge them to like the video if they now see geometry differently, and remind them to subscribe for more powerful stories that reveal how one determined mind can reshape humanity's future. Because when Pythagoras drew that triangle in the sand, he wasn't just solving a problem. He was proving that the universe is understandable, and that belief still holds the world together today.